I had my oldest son whenever I was 14, a month before I turned 15. And then I met Chris whenever Ashton was about 2. Things were probably fine in the beginning. We had our middle child, Lincoln. He was born early and he was in the NICU. And it was the day after Lincoln was born. Chris's brother and best friend had just came to the hospital to see Lincoln. Shortly after, we got a call that he had passed away in a ATV accident. We couldn't come back and be with our family because we were with Lincoln and he needed us there. Then we had Cash shortly after. We were in the apartment building then. We ended up getting evicted from there. You look for ways to fill everything that's broken in you. That's how I feel like we ended up with our addiction as bad as it was. I remember looking at myself in the mirror and just crying because I looked like a zombie. And I was like, what have I done to myself? I remember going days without eating because I wanted to make sure that the little food that we did have was going to our children. There was an empty trailer next to his dad's. Our addiction was at a peak. One evening, I was getting the boys' bath ready. They had both came running back the hallway and yelled, "Fire, fire." The flames were already ripping back the hallway. I remember everything went black and I said out loud, "We're gonna die." And I think you had said no, or no we're not, or something. And
yeah, you said we're gonna die. I said no we're not. Thank the Lord that our kids were within arm's reach. We barely made it out. From that fire, we lost everything. All of our wedding photos, our wedding rings, because we didn't have them on because we were fighting so bad.
We stayed with family for a little bit after that, but we weren't on good terms with family then at that point either. That was broken down too. We ended up jumping from hotel to hotel in Oakland. We had tried multiple times to quit and stuff, but you would be so sick, and like the rage and anger that you would feel in you feel like you could just rip stuff apart. And we were just never able to do it. Whenever we came to Oakland and we're homeless over here, CPS and the police were always looking for us. And as soon as they would find us in one place, we would run to another. At the last place we ended up, we were gonna try again to get clean. We were in the first week. We had decided to go to visit a friend of ours. Our plan wasn't to go and use with this person, but you kind of knew in the back of your mind this was what was going to happen because we had done, that before with them. That was like one of our people. On the way over, Chris and I were having a conversation about how the drugs felt like they were an extension of the devil himself. The only way that I know to describe it is this supernatural experience where I feel like God had spoken to both of us in that car on the way over there. We decided to turn around and go back to our hotel room that we were staying in. The next day, CPS had showed up with the police again, and they had asked that we take a urine test. We did, and we had passed it. The worker had pulled me outside and explained to me that if we failed this urine test, that they were taking our boys that day. I had told myself if the boys ever got taken, I was going to end my life. I remember sitting outside after that and praying and saying, "I see you, I hear you, fix me, because what I'm doing isn't working." And the fire wasn't enough. Being homeless wasn't enough. All the bad that we faced all the time wasn't enough. But what happened to us that day was. And things were completely different after that.
We were finally able to get an apartment in Grantsville. All we had was an air mattress, and I just remember laying there being so happy.
We had done nothing to that point to deserve grace and mercy, but that's all we were given. My identity for so long was my addiction, and it wasn't anymore. I don't remember a day of light or happiness. Everything was always dark and heavy. And when I say that completely changed after that day, I remember thinking, I didn't know that I could feel like this. I didn't know that I could feel happy and hope for our future.
If you just are hopeful and pray about it and just hold on, no one can prepare you for what he can do in your life. Because when he comes, just all I can say is hold on, because there's no one stopping him. He's bringing an army.